So once again, good afternoon to you, Jessie, and welcome to our class in CPT 3, Fundamentals of Craft Science. So this is our day 10 of class, and we are now on Unit 4, Production Practices, and last time we discussed about land preparation. So please, hopefully you have seen these two videos for the last two topics, for the last discussion we had. And we are now on planting. So planting materials and methods. So I have also several videos to show you about planting methods. So this is a typical reproductive organ for plants, and we call this one flower with all the different types. But I have a special video for this, so it's better to watch the video. So can you see my screen, right? You can see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, po.
So this, I will start with plant reproduction through plant fertilization.
Each tiny pollen grain contains two nuclei. One nucleus is called the generative nucleus and will divide into two male sperm nuclei. The other nucleus is called the tubed nucleus. The receptive stigma chemically switches on the pollen grain, which begins to generate a long tube with its own nucleus. It is important that this happens because the male gametes have to reach the ovules, which may be a considerable distance from the tip of the stigma. The pollen tube grows down into the tissues of the stigma and down the length of the style. The tube eventually penetrates the ovule by passing through a small hole called the micropyle. At the micropyle end of the ovule, there is an egg cell nucleus flanked by two other nuclei. At the other end of the ovule are three nuclei left over from previous meiotic divisions. In the center, there is a diploid nucleus formed by the fusion of two polar nuclei. The pollen tube releases one male gamete nucleus, which fuses with the female egg cell nucleus. This is the moment of fertilization and produces a diploid zygote. This is the first cell of the new sporophyte, and it will divide repeatedly to produce the embryo. The other male gamete nucleus fuses with the diploid polar nucleus to produce a unique triploid nucleus. From this new triploid nucleus, a tissue called the endosperm develops. It is in the endosperm tissue of wheat, barley, corn, oats, and rice that most of the seed's food reserves are stored. Thus, it is easy to see that endosperm is the single most important food source for mankind. Not all plants produce a separate food store like endosperm for their embryos. It is a feature of most monocotyledons. In dicotyledons, however, such as this young kidney bean plant, no such endosperm food store exists. The first two leaves of the embryo become swollen with food from the mother plant before the bean split the pod. This food store supports the young plant until it can make its own food through photosynthesis. Within a tough seed coat, there is an embryonic plant with its own special food store. When a seed is ready to germinate, it takes in water and metabolic activity begins. Food stores, which mostly consist of starch, are mobilized by enzymes produced by the embryo. Within this dicotyledonous seed, the young root, known as the radicle, can be seen clearly. The young shoot is known as the plumule and emerges after the root. On some monocotyledons, the plumule is protected by a coleoptile. This protective cap is clearly visible on young corn plants since it is left behind once the shoot reaches the surface.
Okay, so that is all about plant fertilization. So as you can see, we have here, we actually have two ways in which plants reproduce. And we have sexual reproduction, of course, wherein the reproductive organ of the plants are the flower. And we also have the asexual one, which will be discussed on the next slides. But before we proceed with another animation, what can you say about the video, Jessie?
Well, I can say, ma'am, it's more comprehensive than the previous study about, the production of seeds, ma'am. Okay, it's quite different, ma'am, and I just seen it for the first time just now, ma'am. So it's more interesting than the other videos that I had seen, ma'am.
Have seen. So it's good that you have seen this for the first time, because I actually choose, there are a lot of videos showing you the reproductive, this is the plant fertilization process, but there are a lot of videos to show that, but this one really shows you the actual radical, so that is seen under a very high technology microscope, no, na nakita nimo yung
Yes po.
yung kanyang growth, as that is actual video, which is actually just edited. So another video about sexual reproduction,
Yes.
focus more on the different parts.
Sexual reproduction in plants. The flower is the reproductive organ of a plant. Let's get familiar with the parts of a flower. Here is a section of a typical flower. The flower contains 4 basic parts: the leaf-like sepals, the attractively colored petals, the stamens, and a pistil. The stamen, which is the main part of the plant, consists of the filament and the anther. The anther has pollen grains that contain the male gametes. The female part of the plant is made up of the stigma, the style, and the ovary. The ovary has ovules which contain the female gametes. Let's now understand how reproduction in plants is brought about. Pollination and fertilization are the 2 major events that bring about reproduction. Pollination is simply the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma of the pistil. The stigma receives the pollen grains. Pollen grains can be carried from anthers to the stigma by wind, water, or insects. Pollen trapped by the stigma germinates to produce a long tube, which travels down the style and enters the ovary. The pollen tube contains the male gamete. The male gamete fuses with the female gamete in the ovule. This process of fusion is called fertilization. The zygote develops into what is commonly called the seed. After the seeds have formed, the ovary matures to produce fruits. New plants grow from the seeds under suitable conditions. This is the process by which plants propagate themselves.
Okay, I guess that's all about the different parts of the plants and the sexual reproduction process. So there are important terms that we must bear in mind in this animation that the sexual reproductive organ of a plant is flower. We call them, and we have male and female flower, and they goes through in order for the fertilization to occur inside the embryo of the ovary of the flower. There's need to be pollination. So this should be done. And Jessie, for the meantime, can you turn off your microphone and just turn it back when you have questions? Okay. So the before fertilization, so pollination will occur. And we know pollination is just simply pollination and then fertilization. So you remember that those two terms, no? So we need pollination in order to transfer the pollen from the stamen, which is the male plant, to the ovary or to the pistil, which is the female plant. And then fertilization occur. The first video that shows you how to produce a diploid. No? Kasi unlike other organism, we have 4N, 4 diploid, and for plants, they have diploid. No? It means dalawang egg ang mafo-form into eggs. Dalawang eggs ang mafo-form into will be fertilized. Yung isa, yun yung plant or seedling. Yung isa, yun yung endosperm or yung ano ng tanim, yung cotyledon or like monocotyledon. So, akala mo, this is a typical complete flower. Why we say complete flower? Kasi meron siyang male at female flower, the stamen and the pistil. So, bakit ba? Meron bang incomplete flower? Yes, of course, meron. So we actually have different types of flowers. We call them staminate if it's male flower only, like may stamen lang siya. And this is very true with like Jessie. Example ng lalaki na tanim na lalaki yung flower niya. Do you know, Jessie? Kaduwag na ka na, like, niya. Uy, lalaki niya nga tanong. Ano ka niya?
Oh, nakakuan ko naman pag kuan, taas ang bulak, mas elongated siya.
Wala siya nga putas.
Dili po kabalo nga kung unsa siya nga bulak.
So usually sa example sa papaya, di ba? Mayroon nga, ay ka na lalaki na siya nga papaya kay dili siya. Ang bulak niya in ani.
Taas.
Yes, na dili siya mamunga mo nang siya.
Yes, ma'am, tama. Perfect ang kapayas. So, kapayas day, ma'am.
And not only papaya, we also have rambutan, for example. They have staminate. If nakadungog na ka or nakakita na ka og rambutan nga lalaki o babae?
Yes, ma'am. Nakita na ko, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So, we co-staminate kung lalaki siya and we co-pistillate kung babae siya. So, to differentiate which is male or female, so pag mamunga ganin siya, meaning female siya or babae siya na tanom, rambutan or papaya. But there are also times na hermaphroditic siya. Meron siyang perfect, meron din siyang stamen, at saka pistil in one plant. No? And these are very common also in other mga, what do you call that? I forgot their family, the cucurbits family. And even papaya, no? Merong papaya na perfect siya, na lalaki babae, na ako'y papaya nga lalaki lang, na ako'y babae. And the combination of both. Depende sa variety. So we call them monoecious kung staminate and pistillate, meaning female and male flowers are just on the same plant, like the cucurbits. Example of cucurbits are cucumber, squash. So those are some examples of cucurbits. So if you have noticed, I have a photo actually here of the male, this is a cucumber. So the male flower is the one, this one on the left, and the right is the female flower. This is an example of monoecious flower because they both have separate male and female flower in one plant. So nga nung female, you can easily distinguish that this is the female flower because it has a protrusion, no? Ito yung magiging fruit. So madali lang actually. So going back, those are example of monoecious. Now we also have dioecious, wherein staminate or male and pistillate or female flowers on different plants. Separate siya, no? Magkaibang plant like sa papaya. Dioecious siya kasi lahi ang lalaki, lahi po ng babae. And andromonoecious kapag merong perfect, merong staminate or male flowers on the same plant like the muskmelons. Kasi may lalaki siya, meron ding perfect na siyang flower like this. May female and female. So that's so amazing, no? Ganyan ka diverse yung mga tanim natin. So this is the typical differences of different parts of types of flower. These are the complete flower. Ito yung photo niya and parts when it's staminate or male and when it's pistillate or female. And of course, in the complete flower, it exactly has the both male and female, the ovary and the stamen. And this one only have the anther, corolla without the ovary. So, kapag ovary naman siya, female siya. Wala siyang stamen, anther, and pollen. So, yun ang differences. So, a tomato flower, for example, is a complete flower. No? So, these are the 3 types of papaya flower. As I have mentioned earlier, papaya can be female because they are dioecious. They can be both separate female or separate male. So ito yung bulaklak ng female, mas malalaki siya kumpara sa male. But in the end, kapag namunga siya, then exactly, definitely they are female papaya. Pero when it's still, you cannot actually determine, di ba? Kung bata pa. Pag wala pa siyang flower, you will not determine if it's a male or female. Unless you can see, their flower are slender and spoon-shaped. So this should be male. So usually kasi na papaya plantation, they just, may mga percentage. After planting, kailangan i-take away nila yung mga male, no? Kasi hindi naman siya namumunga. So, parang kompetensya lang siya sa fertilization. So, dapat yung female lang yung ititira. But then, there is percentage na kailangan may matirang mga male for the pollination process. But for some other varieties, we also have the hermaphrodite. It means they have both the female and the male flower. Now this one, this looks like the hermaphrodite. So it's already shown on the video on how pollination occurred. No, I also have, and it's also mentioned the diploid, wherein the egg cells here will fuse with the real polar nuclei and the other in the antipodals. Kaya yung isa nagiging in the sperm and then fertilized egg. Kaya 2N siya and plus 3N diploid. So ang tawag sa kanya ay double fertilization. So I actually have another video about the methods of pollination, no? More on pollination. So we can check this video also kasi yung kanina are very animated, and these are real scenario. So this could be
The daffodil is called an entomophilous flower because insects transfer the pollen from one flower to another. In their quest for food, insects brush against anthers and stigmas, effectively cross-pollinating the flowers. Insects are blissfully unaware of their vital role in the life cycles of the plants they pollinate. Some flowers, such as these foxgloves, have evolved in parallel with their insect pollinators. The size and shape of the flowers ideally suits the bumblebee. The markings and hairs on the lower petals serve as a landing strip to guide the pollinators straight to the nectaries. Insects are not the only agents of pollination used by plants. For plants that rely on the wind to carry their pollen, there is no need for insect attractors such as conspicuous flowers, petals, sepals, nectaries, or other temptations. The tiny flowers suspend their anthers and stigmas into the wind to promote cross-pollination. The pollen grains of Anemophilus species are smaller and lighter than those of insect-pollinated flowers. They are also produced in extremely large numbers. Pollination is an all-important process for most terrestrial plants, since it ensures that fertilization will take place and that there will be a new generation of plants. The dandelion uses a special mechanism to ensure that the correct pollen is transferred to its stigma. The flower head is actually made up of many individual flowers called florets. The florets are cross-pollinated by insects, but can also self-pollinate. When the florets were growing, the closed stigma of the dandelion flower grew through the middle of the anthers so that pollen was transferred onto the style as it elongated. After a period of time, if cross-pollination has not taken place, the stigma curls back on itself to pick up its own pollen from the style below. The passion flower has evolved a most interesting method for ensuring cross-pollination. When the flower opens, the anthers flip over. Foraging bees brush against the anthers, taking pollen away on their backs. Sometime afterwards, the stigmas descend. Bees who are already carrying pollen from other flowers then transfer pollen to the stigmas as they continue their search for the nectar. Despite some elaborate mechanisms to prevent it, self-pollination is sometimes unavoidable. But self-pollination doesn't have to mean self-fertilization. Plants can chemically recognize their own pollen and inhibit its further development in favor of pollen from another source. Flowers such as this tiger lily, in which both male and female sex organs are located, are called perfect flowers. Where the plant produces separate male and female flowers, the flowers are said to be imperfect. Here, the male flower is the catkin and is called the staminate flower. The small red flower is the female or pistillate flower. How do completely separate male and female flowers ensure that they are in sync? Many plants have ensured that cross-pollination takes place by deliberately keeping male and female flowers on the same plant out of sync. In this corn plant, the pollen is ripe long before the stigmas are receptive. Therefore, the only way the ovules can be fertilized is by the pollen from another corn plant.
So it's really very interesting, no? From the last video, you have seen that the corn, for example, no, ang corn cannot undergo, although meron siyang separate na male at saka female. Do you know, Jessie, what is the male and female organs of corn? Jessie?
The tassel, ma'am, of the corn in the katuning banay.
Yes,
Ito yung banay niya, ma'am.
Oo, katong embryo. Dili pa man to siya fruit, diba? Kasi although fruit na to siya technically, but sometimes wala siya seeds na ma-develop, di ba? Itong ginakaon na to. It's because pag
Yes po.
wala siya na fertilize, wala na pollinate, so wala yung seeds na although na siya pakaw. Katong pakaw na lang, technical term, moto iyahang, that is the female. And as we learned from the last part of the video, that before yung corn hindi talaga pwedeng mag self-pollinate. And do you remember why? Kailangan cross-pollination siya. Kasi what happens to the tassel? Did you get it, Jessie? Wala niyo mo nakuha?
Ang to last portion, ma'am, dili siya ma-pollinate kay dili siya, I mean, malata ang tassel, ma'am, pag dili siya
Okay, as mentioned, yeah, you got it, but to make it more clear, as mentioned, yung corn kasi, yung kanyang pollen is earlier siya parang mature. Pero yung stigma is not ready doon sa tassel. Kaya, before pa siya maging parang mahulog na siya before ready yung embryo. No? So therefore, dili siya pwede ka self-pollinate, although meron siyang male at saka female, but it will pollinate through cross-pollination from other corn tassels. So katong ma-pollinate through winds and bees and other insects, so dito siya matugpa siya sa ready na nga o receptive na. So the term is receptive. The stigma is not receptive yet when the pollen is mature enough. So, mawala ang pollen, kaya dili siya makuha sa stigma. So, I hope you will remember that. And there's a lot of examples, and they are very amazing kasi it's a real video talaga. No? Yung, there are some plants like the passion fruit flower. It's a beautiful flower, but it will, in fact, it's a perfect flower, so it will self-pollinate kasi it will readily help itself para ma-reach yung pollen doon sa ovary, like the passion fruit. So this is an example,
like the dandelion food.
Yes, the dandelion, yung yellow, no? So this is just a typical process. After pollination, then fertilization comes. And then the fruit wall develops, no? After from the embryo, and then it becomes tomato fruit. This one. So there are actually in agriculture we call them different methods of breeding, no, or reproduction in the other terms. So this can be naturally self-pollinated, meaning these are very true with a complete flower, meaning perfect flower sila kasi complete sila. Imperfect pag dili complete. So examples are the beans, the peas, the lettuce, and the tomatoes. They are, although not absolute kasi crossing or cross-pollination can still occur because of this winds and insects and bees. So they are very capable of self-pollination. And cross-pollinated sila like the crucifers, cabbage, cauliflower, and radish. And root crops also carrots, beets, parsnips, and onions. And others like sweet corn, spinach, and asparagus. So kanina, as an example, the sweet corn cannot do self-pollination because of its early maturity of the pollen before the stigma becomes receptive. So for crucifer, for example, for cabbage, they have very little flower, no? And sometimes their flower are infertile, like even some of the root crops. So these are kanina example of the corn plant wherein this is the anther, the tassel, And the pistillate is the ear. This is the has, the ovule. And this is the silk. Ito yung female flower. So another breeding method is the partially cross-pollinated. So ano kaibahan nito sa self-pollinated and cross-pollinated? Partial siya, like eggplants, peppers, celery, cucumber, squash, pumpkins, melons, and cucumbers, and watermelons. Kasi if you notice, these cucurbits have both male and female, and so they are cross-pollinated kasi they need the insects and winds in order to transfer the pollen. But that's why they are partially also because some of them are hermaphroditic and can itself, you know, although hindi talaga totally self-pollinated. So have you heard about emasculation, Jessie?
None so far, ma'am.
So this is just, you know, another breeding method in tomato and some other crops also. So in this figure, in this method, you are going to open, you select buds with an anther cone. You just cut the petals, no? Here, you cut the petals, and then what is left is yung kanyang anther. Ayan. And then, you collect the pollens from other flowers and dry it, and then sieve it until ready for inoculation or for making hybrid crosses. And then, you do the pollination manually. So, emasculation is just the manual pollination of flowers. And this has been done in tomato. So as the next step, you also cut the sepals in order to determine na mas emasculated siya. So you dip itong kanyang stigma, i-dip naman doon sa collected pollen, and then, ayan, using your hand, and then this is the actual output of the ripened seed grafts, and you will notice na it is an emasculated kasi the sepals on each fruit have been also cut to indicate that this fruit contains hybrid seed and non-hybrid fruits has been removed. Okay, so usually pag December, tomatoes are emasculated kasi yung 'di ba, short day tayo pag December. And the longest day natin ay June. So pag short days, not so much pollination occur. Kasi yung kaniyang germ tube na after fertilization, after yung pollen mapunta lang sa stigma, ang germ tube niya kailangan ng yung length of day or temperature requirement para tumubo siya, maabot siya doon sa kanyang embryo. So that's why this is done. So hybrid versus open pollinated cultivar. So what does it mean? Hybrid means that the product of controlled pollination of two or more genetically distinct parental inbred lines, and usually they are superior and uniform crop, meaning yung minibili natin, usually these are already hybrid, meaning kinokontrol yung kanilang genes, genetically modified sila through traditional or yung genetic engineering, yung GMO. So, although this is time-consuming and expensive, but superior siya kasi piling-pili na talaga yung kanyang mga characters like high-yielding, resistance to pests and diseases, and so on. And mostly sa hybrid, magpareho lahat ang bunga. Unlike sa open-pollinated, self or cross-pollinated, there is strict artificial isolation if you want it to be really uniform crop. Although this is less expensive, like nagtanim ka lang ng tomato, no? And then, yung bunga, na cross-pollinated na yan siya. Kasi hindi yan yung hybrid na seeds na binili mo. So, you notice, pag tinanim mo yan ulit, iba-iba ang kanyang characteristic. May oblong na tomato, meron ding may mga different varieties tayo ng tomato, no? Yung circle or oblong type, no? So, yun ang kaibahan ng open pollinated so hybrid. And they are saying, Jessie, that if yung seeds that binili mo, usually, definitely, lahat yun ay hybrid. Kasi they come from seed companies. But they said that pag tanim mo ng hybrid na seeds, yung kanyang bunga, pag ginamit mo ulit yung kanyang seeds para pagtanim, sabi nila, hindi natutubo. Of course, tutubo pa rin siya unless nilagyan ng yung GMO na seeds, nilagyan siya ng infertility, no? Meaning, hindi na siya pwedeng tumubo. But most probably, it will still have another plant, no? It will produce another plant, but not exactly the same with the parent material kasi cross-pollinated na siya. So there are characteristics of when you choose a seed for planting, no? Or seed quality. We have the true to type, ibig sabihin kung anong tinanim mo, yun talaga pareho lahat. Baka may tumubo na mga ibang varieties. So dapat true to type and high germination percentage, usually nasa 80 to 90 and 100%. Although 100% of germination is impossible because of conditions and so on. And high vigor, how would we know that it's a high vigor? Kasi it's high germination percentage and the days to germination is faster. So that's what we call vigor. And no dormancy, it means it will germinate at earlier days. And free of foreign material, walang bato, and so on. And no disease or insect contamination. Kasi pag contaminated yung so hindi talaga yan tutubo, yung seeds. So we have actually seed classes from the the main origins of the seeds. So we call them breeder seed. Ang color tagging yan ay white. It means that they come from initial source of cultivar produced by the plant breeder mismo. Especially kung merong bagong variety. So pag white ang tag niyan, it means it's a breeder seed. We also call them foundation seed kapag red ang tag niya and it's already the progeny. This come from the breeder seed and handled to maintain the highest degree of purity. Mas pure siya, so this is classified as foundation seed. And before a seed is available on the market, it should be on its green tag already or registered seed na siya. Progeny of foundation seed or the production of the certified seed. It means that registered na siya, purified na, and ready for distribution. And blue tag naman pag certified seed. It's the final product produced by seed company or growers for commercial na sale to crop producers. So, hindi lang, this is for commercial purpose, no? So, this is the usual process, the classification of seeds. So, you always, don't forget this classes kasi this usually comes out in the board exam if you're planning to take the board exam. And we also have another characteristic of seed. We call it seed performance. So what are these? We have seed vigor, seed enhancement. So when we see seed vigor, kanina is one also of the characteristic. It's rapid, complete, and uniform seed germination. And there are also ways when we enhance the seed vigor. Through cheating, we call it cheating if you shorten the time between sowing and seedling emergence. So mas mabilis lang siya. No? And we all know that the fastest seed germination is mung beans, diba? Ihumo lang mo ng mung beans o tubig o munggo, with less than 24 hours, matubo na siya, diba?
Urok na.
Yes. And under ideal condition until radical emergence. So once the radical, so you have seen the real radical on the previous video, and it's for sowing or transplanting in moistened media. So another ways to increase performance of seeds is the osmoconditioning or seed priming. You will improve the seedling vigor, germination, and percentage and uniformity. And it involves imbibition in a temperature-controlled dilute aerated solution with an organic or inorganic osmoticum. So this is an example of an osmoticum. No? Also, it will have exactly the same moisture content. So you stimulate seed metabolism. And when you plant them, it's ready for germination. So usually, ito yung mga seeds na naka-dry, and usually, this is for storage. This is an example of osmoticum. And if you want to do osmoconditioning, you just moisten it here inside this osmoticum. So that's how you do osmoconditioning. Another way also of seed performance is the use of coated or pelleted seed. These are small-seeded vegetables like tomatoes. So if you notice on tomato, di ba colorful siya, red ang color, pink sometimes, because these are already handled, singulated in precision seeders more efficiently. It has diatomaceous earth or montmorillonite, clay or sand, na mayroong binder around seeds to increase size and uniformity para mas madali lang siyang matanim. So, it will also increase pestilence protection. Meron na yung fungicide, insecticides, no, which are incorporated. So, it's not safe to really eat especially yung for planting ng mga, like usually yung kinakain natin ng mga seeds, yung sunflower. Pero if it's for planting, do not just, eat that one kasi meron na yung mga fungicides, insecticides. And of course, lastly, we have use of synthetic seeds. We also have synthetic seeds, and these are disease-free plant tissue or somatic embryos, which are produced aseptically na nasa vitre. And embryos can be removed from the culture media and encapsulated na siya into synthetic gels that replace in the sperm and seed coat. Kasi sometimes in the seed, germination will not be successful because of not enough in the sperm, or yung seed coat niya is masyadong matigas. So in lieu of that, you can do synthetic gels, no? But these are artificial. And embedded with that are chemicals for protection against pestilence in the gel. So, planting material preparation. So, before planting, there are a lot of kaartehan, no, in the seed preparation. For example, for annual seeds, you do pre-germination treatment. Before you plant na kasi yung mga these seeds that you can buy in large seed companies, they already pre-treated, but before you germinate them, another treatment na naman with fungicide like Metaxil to control downy mildew in corn even during until vegetative stage. Or meron din tayong tinatawag na vernalization or cold treatment. Have you heard this term vernalization before, Jessie?
No, ma'am. Maybe, ma'am, pero hindi rin ako siguro mabalik sa kong uto.
So, vernalization is just simply cold treatment. So, 4 to 6 months storage at 40 degree Fahrenheit. Or, pwede mo siyang mag-treat ka ng gibberellic acid. It's a hormone to it's a hormone for flowering, no? And for if you treat with GA for 12 hours at the rate of 500 to 2,500 ppm solution, it will enhance early flowering in Gladiolus. So usually, yung mga tulips, yung kailangan ng yung winter, ang tulips for example, they need winter para mag-germinate and mag-flower. So without winter or cold treatment, hindi yan siya mag-flower during springtime. So you need to vernalize it, no? Or vernalization. And vernalization or cold treatment has been also done in some other purpose, no? Like mostly, mainly talaga for flowering ng plants. Another pre-germination treatment is yung seed inoculation. You coat them with inoculants like rhizobia. These are to enhance nitrogen fixing ability of legumes. So another these are asexual methods already, but vegetative plant parts preparation for cassava, they are cut into 20 to 25 centimeter length, and this can be still viable for 5 months if it's already 7 months old or lower. And sugar cane, yung stalk niya, at least may 3 nodes. And yung sweet potato, usually 25 to 30 centimeter from the tip of the vine. And white potato tuber is cut into pieces, each contain a bud and with fungicide treatment. So yung study ko dati is white potato or Solanum tuberosum. So I have done this. You cut the seed, the patatas, and then yung i-treat mo ng fungicide. Usually, depende sa kalaki ng potato. So, I've been in alam mo yung Kapatagan Digos? I've been there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, doon ako nagtanim during my masteral study. Kasi kailangan ng high elevation yung patatas. So, I guess we will just stop on here before we proceed seed germination and so on. And we also have another sexual types of germination. Okay, so we will, because it's almost time already, we have done 40 to 50 minutes of our time. So do you have any question regarding our topic today, which is about plant reproduction? Jessie. Do you have any question?
I think none so far, ma'am, kay kanon siya. None so far, ma'am.
Okay.
Kay ano man siya, detailed man po siya, ma'am, and naka PowerPoint man po siya, ma'am. Then ang tanan nga important nga kuan na highlights man noon siya, ma'am. So wala ko question karon, ma'am.
Thank you, and I will see you again next meeting for continuation of our topic on seed germination.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so wala na pa.